I'll start again.
Cool. All right.
So what's going on, people? Welcome back to another live show tonight. It's John here, and my guest is Adam, Norwich City fan. Good evening to Adam.
Good evening, John. How are you?
Great, man. And how's things for you?
Yeah, it's been a good couple of weeks, despite a couple of defeats. We've obviously already promoted. Before we even kicked the ball there, last Saturday? It's been a great season, so doing well, thank you.
Good for you. Good for you. First of all, congratulations on getting back promoted to the Premier League. You've been a credit to the club, and also big up to Daniel Farker, the playing staff, and the management of Norwich City Football Club. And I just think it's been absolutely amazing. And if you like my videos, could you please stick a like on the video, leave a comment in the sections down below, and if you are new, please consider subscribing. And any Norwich City fans fancy coming on me chat, leave your comments down below. It's not just Newcastle fans, it's anyone's as well. So, Adam, and what I can say to you is, when you were relegated back to the Championship, how did you feel? And did you think you were going to get back up again?
Yeah, it's sort of, we got promoted probably 2 or 3 years before we expected to get promoted in the first place under Daniel Farker and our sporting director, Stuart Webber. They sort of have a 5-year plan in place, and the Premier League was sort of the long-term goal. We achieved it as quick as we did after 2 seasons under Farker's management, and last season was sort of a bit of a nightmare, especially after sort of the football came back behind closed doors. We failed to win any game, lost every single one of them, and it was hard to watch. And I just thought this season's going to be probably playoff push at best. I just thought the mentality, despite keeping a lot of our best players, the mentality of the players was sort of difficult to get that sort of back to a winning sort of mentality as such. But it's been, despite the first 3 or 4 games going a bit slow, ever since we've just been relentless, and he's just got the balance correct. The defence is probably the best we've had in, I would say, 15 years, and still going forwards with like the likes of Buendia and Pukki scoring the goals. Yeah, that's what's been sort of the magic recipe, I suppose you'd say.
Sure. I was just going to mention those 2 players as well. I was going to say that Pukki's having a wonderful, wonderful season. 25 goals, 4 assists this season. And Buendia is being watched by Arsenal, 13 goals this season. And the guy, he's an Argentinian. He's international, though. He's international, isn't he?
He's not actually international yet. No, he's one that I think he needs, obviously, a good season in the Prem. Hopefully still with Norwich next season, but I'm not too hopeful we'll keep him. There's definitely going to be interest sort of in him this summer. But I think Norwich will probably try and keep hold of at least one of him, Aarons or Cantwell, because they are probably the most crucial players for us potentially going forwards.
Sure, I'd love to have Max Aarons at right back. I really do, because this guy is absolutely dynamic. I mean, Cantwell as well, fantastic. I like him as well. Shane Cool, he's played for Newcastle, outstanding again. Buendia, class that. But you got some candy players there. I mean, he plays a 4-2-3-1. He hasn't changed his formation. It's 4-2-3-1, and the football's been exciting. I watched a couple of games of you guys this season. Absolutely fantastic. And I just wish Steve Booth, our manager, can take note of it as well, because at the end of the day, the guy is absolutely done. And if he stays on this season, we'll definitely be doing comment on later on. So, as a Norwich City fan, are you season ticket holder? Do you go to the games? Do you go to matches?
Yeah, I've had a season ticket now for 7 seasons, and I go to pretty much every single away game. So it's been a bit strange times, obviously not been able to go, but I did manage to go to a couple of games back in December when they had the 2,000 fans in with limited capacity. So I have managed to get to a few games this season.
Fantastic. And let's hope that we get all the fans back in the season. Just fingers crossed. So, guys, if you've got any questions for young Adam, please fire them away, and I'll just read them out, and then Adam would be quite happy to answer your question. So, I mean, do you think Daniel Farke, is he on a long-term contract, Daniel Farke? Is he on a long-term deal? Has he got his contract up?
So he signed a new deal upon promotion last time out. He's actually, him and our sporting director Stuart Webber are both out of contract. Not this season, this summer. Sorry, next summer. He's got links with the Eintracht Frankfurt job in Germany already. They want him because obviously I think they're about to secure Champions League football, and they like the way he plays football, and obviously the job he's done at Norwich. He's got, well, looks like he might get 2 championship titles on his CV and, you know, another promotion to the Premier League. So he's obviously got good credentials, and his playing style is probably the best I've ever seen at Norwich. He obviously he's our first ever manager outside of Great Britain that we've ever employed. So he's obviously got a completely different style, and a lot of fans weren't sure that he was the right man for the job and sort of his style of football. We've just never seen that before. But yeah, it's been at the club at the moment is the best it's ever been. All the fans are fully behind him, and it's been an amazing couple of seasons.
I mean, they wanted him out, didn't they? Sort of thing in the first season, they wanted him gone, but they were never going to sack him. There's no way, because he needed time. He needed time. He just said it there. He's never seen football like that before. You're not used to it. Do you know what I mean? But it's totally different. I love to have a foreign manager at my club. Do you know what I mean? I really would. We didn't have to Benitez, but at the end of the day, Mike Ashley allowed him to walk away. So this is not a good, which is a dumbest thing to do. I've got some viewers there as well, and I've got Luke. He's a Nottingham Forest fan. Love the intro, John. Thank you very much indeed, Luke. Norwich City were definitely by far the best team in the league, and especially showed when you play Nottingham Forest at City Ground. Yeah, when you actually beat them. I've got Truls again. Hey, John. Hope you are good. Fine. I hope you're okay. And Truls said, what on your promotion, and a big thumbs up. Any questions like that, Adam, please ask him, and then Adam do his best to whack him, give you the good answer, sort of thing. So, Adam, I mean, who's been your all-time great for Norwich City? I mean, I know you're 21, but who's your all-time great for Norwich City, and also who's the worst you've seen?
That's a good question. I think all-time great, you've probably got a choice between Wes Hoolahan or Darren Huckabee. Both are probably... Darren Huckabee was sort of just as I got into supporting Norwich, you know, past sort of a pacey winger, scored goals, and he just was one of these players who you always thought could play for a bigger club, but he's always sort of been devoted to Norwich ever since. He still follows the club and has a role in the club now, so he's definitely up there. But I think for me, it has to be Wes Hoolahan. 10 seasons at Norwich, goals from League One. He basically brought us out of League One into the Championship, then up into the Premier League, and he spent, 4 or 5 seasons of his career in the Premier League with Norwich, so he's probably the one.
Yeah, it's so underrated. He can pass the ball, he can move, and his passing ability is absolutely fantastic. And we could do a player like him in Newcastle back at the time, and if you know what I mean. But yeah, I mean, those players, the players you've got now, are they going to be better than the ones you had? Probably not, but at the end of the day, you've got some good players there. You got, like I said, you got like Max Aarons. He's been watched by a lot of German clubs. Bayern Munich is one of them.
Yeah, so you had a link with Barcelona. Norwich actually came out and sort of said that Barcelona were tracking him last summer, and they wanted to originally try and get him on a loan deal with a view of a permanent. But obviously, Norwich never really wanted to accept that, because if we're going to sell him, we're going to sell him, not loan him out. So, but I think he is. Yeah, today actually, I think we had another link. West Ham are after him. That came out in the press today as well. Norwich are willing to sell him this summer if the right money's there. So you're probably looking at 35 million pounds for him.
Wow, that's a lot of money for a championship player. No disrespect, but 35 million. Wow. I mean, at the end of the day, sort of thing. I mean, what's his name? Juan Cuadrado didn't cost that much of Juve, sort of thing, and Alexandro didn't cost 35 million for Nivas, sort of thing, but 35 million. This is the thing. I mean, all these English players do cost a lot of money, and when I heard people on like Talk Sport come out and say because he's English, I don't want to hear that. It's like me saying Sandro Tonali plays for Milan, sort of thing, because he's Italian. I don't want to hear that. He's a great player. Nationality does have to come with it, do you know what I mean? You just check out on the talent, not because of nationality, sort of thing, you know what I mean? But it's almost like a slap in the face, sort of thing. So no, but 35 million for Aarons, Well, it's a hard one, but he might get it if he has a couple of good seasons in Norwich in the Premier League. You just never know. But we just got Jamal Lewis from you guys as for what £13.5 million. I mean, when he was at Norwich, what was he like?
In the Championship, I would say a left back. He probably was the best left back in the Championship in 2018-19. Last season, he looked a little bit good. Going forwards, I think he's probably one of the best sort of attacking left backs we've ever had. But in terms of the sort of defensive job, which in the Premier League is what you really need, he's a little bit lightweight, and he just gets beaten way too easily.
He's a little bit sussed as well. I mean, I do like Jamal Lewis, but he's a little bit sussed. And our Newcastle fans on my chat will totally agree with us as well. And for me, Steve Bruce has totally ruined him. I mean, we play theatre back most of the games, and he plays like a wing back. But he's telling Lewis not to go forward, sort of thing. Just don't be defensive, be defensive. And it just totally killed his confidence this moment in time. I do love Jamal Lewis. I think he's going to be fantastic. But on the attacking manager, I expect I'm going to see a lot more Jamal. And for me, he must be thinking, what am I doing at this club? He would have been better off stopping at Norwich, if I'm honest with you. You know what I mean? That's no disrespect for Jamal Lewis, but I just don't want the kid being killed off by Steve Bruce. He has killed a lot of players playing too much defensive, sitting back football, and I just do not want to see that. But I still give him another chance, definitely, but under a different manager for me.
Yeah, 100%. I think when sort of the links came to Newcastle in the summer, I was a little bit concerned just because of the manager in terms of Steve Bruce. I felt like he would have been better going to a Leicester to try and replace Chilwell. I think if he'd have gone somewhere like that, I actually think he'd have had a very good season in the Premier League. And I think if Newcastle had the right manager, I think you would see the best of Jamal Lewis because he is a very talented player. But he's just, he's not being coached right.
Definitely not. And Newcastle fans will probably back up on that one as well. We after this player from Benfica, another left back sort of thing. If you do get him, I still think he'll go to Napoli anyway. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. But if he does come here, I think Jamal Lewis at Newcastle is going to be done for a season. I mean, you've got Paul Dummett, can play left back, wing back. Matt Ritchie can play left wing back as well. Jamal Lewis, I mean, he's got a long-term contract with us. And if he is going to go to another club, I hope it doesn't go to the Championship. I hope it goes to another Premier League. But someone like Hughes again, maybe Watford. I will not have him playing in a team that plays European football because I'll tell you, if he does, that'd be so embarrassing for us after paying a lot of money for him, and it's going to knock the guy's confidence.
100%, yeah. Like I think, obviously Norwich. I think a lot of Norwich fans would have taken him back probably on a loan deal if he wasn't getting the football. But we've recently signed a Greek left back, who actually Newcastle were linked with as well last summer, Dimitris Giannoulis. And he's obviously the man that Norwich have targeted to be the left back in the Premier League. And he looks like he's definitely got the attributes to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's quick. He's got a lovely left foot on him as well. And this is the thing. I mean, if we're going to compete between Hughes and Norwich, I think Norwich are going to get there first because, Mike, actually, we're still in the process of having a takeover, hopefully in a couple of months' time. But it's going to arbitration at the minute. And today, I mean, basically, the Premier League are not going to pay that money sort of thing. And so liability, if they lose, they'd have to pay liability, set that. But we've got one of the best lawyers in the world in Nick DeMarco. He's going to defend Ashley and Newcastle to get this takeover go through. And now, this the big six now are trying to tell the Premier League they don't want to take over for Newcastle. But they haven't got a choice now because the Super League has gone kaput now. And I'm going to come to the Super League. What's your take on Super League? Do you think they're right to just cancel the whole thing, or do you just think it's more money?
Yeah, it's definitely a money thing. I was just more baffled when I saw it. I couldn't believe that it was a sort of a real thing. Obviously, it's been talked about for a while, hasn't it? But I just never thought it was going to come to fruition, as in a lot of the top governing bodies I thought would be able to stop it. But I'm very glad that the fans have all got together and stopped that, because I don't understand how these big clubs honestly thought they could come and play the likes of Norwich and Watford on a Saturday with all the money they would have had, and it would have just made the Premier League basically a pointless league to even be in.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, I don't want to be watching Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Milan's every week. I don't. I prefer the better football. I mean, I love Serie A football, but I want to see the better football sort of each and every week. And it's little teams, I play the big teams, just helps them financially sort of thing. Now, can you imagine them walking off and play in the Super League. We're going to end up playing under 23s against the Big Six under 23s. You know what I mean? Which I think is a disgrace. But it's all about the Big Six at the end of the day. The Premier League do not want to upset the Big Six, yeah? That's why they don't want to take over Newcastle United, yeah? But if we win the arbitration, we get taken over. My guess is, I think Richard Masters, sorry, who owns the Premier League, take a sec, which I think is absolutely hopeless. I think he needs to go. I think he'll go if we win the arbitration. And for God forbid we win it, we'll win it.
Yeah, no, I just think it's one of them things. It's like kind of put a bit of a dampener on the celebrations of promotion the other day, because it was like we've been promoted to the Premier League, but it's like, is the Premier League going to be the Premier League? But obviously, a few days later, we're sort of hopeful that it will sort of get back to how it should be. But I just think these clubs have got to be punished to stop this in the future.
Yeah. What sort of punishment would you give, though, Adam? What punishment would you give?
It's a tricky one to say. I think a points deduction doesn't really do much to these clubs. I mean, they'll just rebuild and go again next season. I think it's got to be a lot harsher than that. But in what sort of, I think even like money problems, you give them a money deduction, but it doesn't mean anything to them. They've just got so much money, so it's a difficult one to call.
Hit them hard. I mean, I'll give them a couple-year Champions League ban or European ban. Hit them hard for what they've done. Because could you imagine if they accepted the Super League, right? The other 14 clubs, the Premier League will be like the Championship.
Yeah.
You may as well do that, you know. You may as well. Because it's a joke, you know what I mean? It's a joke. And, you know, it will just kill football altogether. Because I just looking at Barcelona, they still want the Super League as well. And so does Real Madrid. They do want the Super League to happen. But they're going to be on their own, because at the end of the day, we're all dropped out.
Yeah. I think the English clubs sort of obviously have a sort of more competitive league as it is. I think obviously these other clubs in these other countries don't have so many sort of big teams where they're competing up against each other. They're sort of more for European football, the likes of sort of Barca and Real. They're pretty much the top two every single season, where I think the Premier League obviously has got a sort of more of a competition about it, as in we've had the likes of Chelsea, Leicester, Man City, Liverpool, Man United all win it within the last sort of 10 years. So I think that's probably the slight difference, but I'm just glad that it has come to an end, because I really didn't fancy watching Norwich up against Spurs away on a Saturday with even their reserve team would just absolutely just batter us and we've got no chance. So that kind of kills the whole fun of football.
It does, you're right there. So if you don't want to see little teams get stuffed by the big teams, you want to be competitive at the end of the day. And if you have a go, then all good and well. So, yeah, I totally agree with you there. So, I mean, I was going to talk about who should be your player of the season for Norwich, would you say? I mean, there's plenty of names out there. I mean, who would you say your player of the season and why?
I think I'd have to go with Emi Buendia. I don't really think there's anyone else. Everyone else had a great season. I would say it's between him and Oliver Skipp, who we got on loan from Tottenham, who I honestly think, Mourinho did rate him highly, obviously, before his departure at Spurs, but I think he will become a future England captain one day. He's got all the attributes to do that. He's only 20 years old. But Emi Buendia, 13 goals and 15 assists this season. He's been by far, in my opinion, the best player in the Championship, not just at Norwich. He's a Premier League talent playing in the Championship. And we're just blessed that we've managed to have him for this season, because I do think without him, we probably would be still in the top six, but not top of the league.
He's absolutely class him by the sound of Buendia. We could do with him as well. I mean, I wouldn't mind buying him myself if one of the bigger players decides to move on. It could be Amir on as well. Got Thomas here, Newcastle fan, even John and Adam, and even to you, Thomas. I hope you're okay. Please smash the likes up on the video and drop those comments in the sections down below. Any questions for Adam regarding the Norwich, please do so. Don't be shy. His mum wasn't, but here you go. But I mean, Buendia sort of thing. Where did he come from, Buendia? Where did he come from?
So we signed him in the summer of 2018 from Getafe in Spain for £1.5 million. Our sporting director, Stuart Webber, went and scouted him extensively and couldn't believe that he was on loan at a third division Spanish club. Brought him to the Championship, and after sort of a couple of months of adaptation, he scored, I think it was 8 or 9 goals that season, and he got us promoted. And he had a great season last year. I think in terms of chances created, he was in the top 3 players in the Premier League behind De Bruyne and somebody else. But he didn't quite have the goal ratio last year in the Premier League in sort of a Norwich team that didn't really score goals anyway. So I think a lot of people sort of challenged him sort of this season to really kick on and hit sort of a completely different level altogether. And he's done that quite comfortably.
I do like him. I mean, he's going to lit up the Premier League, I think, if he gets the right service. Aaron's as well, Skip as well, and Pukki as well. He's banging in goals again, Pukki. I mean, it's at this level, though, the Championship. I mean, he did well in the Premier League as well. He scored a lot of goals in the Premier League in a poor season, man. But I remember he took us apart against Newcastle the second game of last season, where it could have been 6 or 7. We were that bad, I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, he's it's difficult one to call. I think first half of last season in the Prem, obviously that's where he scored all of his 11 Premier League goals. Pretty much, well, August obviously got Premier League Player of the Month, and everyone was like, this guy's going to rip the league up. And I honestly do think that if once we go up, obviously we are already up, but once we're up in sort of playing in that league, I do think Pukki will score goals again next season. I wouldn't back against him scoring 15 again. I do think he's got all the attributes of the right sort of player. I think we probably lacked sort of a little bit of confidence towards the end of the season when results were just going against us. He picked up a few injuries here and there, and it just kind of unsettled his season. But in the Championship, he is probably the best striker you could probably ever ask for, a free agent signing, and he scored 25 goals so far this season and 29 the year we went up before. So he's got a very good proven record. He's really got to prove that again next season in the Prem.
Yeah. How old is he now? Is he 30 now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 30 at the moment, yeah.
Yeah, I still think he's got an experience sort of thing. I think he'll be okay this season. I mean, he might do better. I think that season if he gets the right service. I'm sure you get some players coming through. You need to keep the bulk of your players that you've got. I mean, money-wise, I don't think you've got a lot of money. But at the end of the day, you just got to get the players that you got. I mean, Skip would be a good signing for another season for you guys. Get that experience. I'd take him all day long. And, you just got to keep going. I think he'll be fine, and just see what comes to it. I got Connor as well. Connor, hope you're okay. Connor's written, even lads, congrats on Norwich getting promoted. Big fans of Max and Todd. Would love them both in Newcastle.
I think that's probably a common theme for a lot of Premier League clubs. Both of them are both players that are going to only get better with age. Cantwell he obviously had a really good season in the Premier League, and I would actually argue he's a better Premiership player than he is a Championship player. In the Championship, he can sometimes get bullied out of the game a little bit. Particularly these defensively drilled sides. I remember we played Middlesbrough at home this season, and they just marked him so tightly and just sort of got into his head a bit, and he just couldn't sort of battle against that. Where I think in the Premier League, where it's a little bit more on the floor and he's able to execute his tricks, he really is a player that's going to the top.
Yeah. Oh, definitely a dark bullet, the sort of thing. I mean, I'll get rid of John Shelby now and bring in Cantwell, and I'll get rid of Emil Kraft and bring in Max Aarons. That'd be a cracking signing for a start. I want my team to improve in the summer. We need to, because we need to get rid of players, the dead ballers like Shelby, Kraft, Joe Linton. They're not, even though he's getting slightly better. I'll come to him now. Have you watched Joe Linton play for Newcastle?
Yeah, I remember. I think he came off. I don't know if he might have started the game against us at Carrow Road last year. I can't actually remember. Yeah,
he did. And also, he went off. He wanted to go off. Then he went on the grid. He just wanted to go off. He just didn't fancy it that year. I watched that game. He clearly did not fancy it at all whatsoever. Honest to God, he didn't clearly fancy it at all, because he's getting roughed up. And he's 6'2". And the thing is, though, he should be bullying people off the pitch, and he hasn't done that. I mean, to be fair, last week, I thought he had a good game against West Ham last week. I thought he did okay. And first half, I guess. And I've got Connor as well. Just spoke about Jamal Lewis. I still think Lewis is a great left back, but a terrible manager won't get the best out of him. Connor, I said this about 20 minutes ago, and he's being killed off by Steve Bruce, and he has killed him. He just said it as well, Adam. He said he's getting killed by the wrong manager.
No, 100%. Like I say, definitely on that Lewis point, he's. I'm not saying he's going to ever be a top 4 Premier League left back, but he's definitely got the capabilities to be playing sort of a sort of club that's aiming for the Europa League. He's got all the capabilities and the talent there to do so, and he's still only 22, 23. He's got a lot more potential in him yet, but he's just being completely managed wrong, and that is the issue.
This is the thing, and Newcastle fans just want this manager gone at the end of the season. Get him out, because Steve Bruce, it's the second season now, I want him gone, but there's been rumours that Steve Bruce could be offered a new deal at the end of the season. He's initially came on a 3-year deal, and even though he's lost to players, we won 4 games in 23, players don't really want to play for him, and yet Mike Ashley just does things opposite as well. He's going to give Bruce a new deal, and if that's the case, we need a takeover so badly before that happens. If you don't get a takeover, I think it's going to be worse next season, mate.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with you. I think that's the one thing we've always been blessed with is a lot of people have ever sort of criticised Norwich for the ownership. Delia and Michael don't really spend much money, but the one thing they'll never do is let the club ever sort of get into a state where it is in financial problems or there's sort of a disconnect between fans and ownership. We've never ever really had that, sort of, other than 2008 time when we had sort of some money issues and Delia was tempted to sell up the club. We've never really had that issue. People have always sort of wanted a richer owner, because that's the one thing Norwich can't do is compete with even the clubs at the bottom of the Premier League. We just can't compete with them on a financial level. But this new model we've got in place is completely self-sustainable. We buy players for low money who are quite young and develop them and sell them on for big profits, which we've already sort of seen with Jamal Lewis. Came through the youth academy, obviously sold him to you guys, and Ben Godfrey we signed for under £1 million and sold him for nearly 25 million. So it's kind of a sort of almost like a conveyor belt, really, of just bringing through players and selling them on for big money.
That's the thing, because Norwich, that's the only way Norwich is going to do it, because that's the only way you're going to survive. I mean, Norwich are a terrific club, family club, and I've never been to Carrow Road. I've been in Norwich, I've never been to Carrow Road. I think the atmosphere is absolutely brilliant if it gets right. Son Common Varka's got it absolutely spot on, you know what I mean? I think he's a decent manager. But talking of swap deals, would you add in fact to swap Varka for Bruce?
No, not at all. No, Steve Bruce is he actually did used to play for Norwich back in the 80s. Is sort of a bit of a Norwich legend in terms of sort of on the pitch, but I never want him or his playing style anywhere near Norwich. I'm very happy with Daniel Farke's attacking football and sort of possession-based football. It's enjoyable to watch. I don't really fancy going and watching Steve Bruce ball on a Saturday.
Oh, great. Fair enough. Not for you. Definitely not for me. And I think actually, I do feel that Ashley's going to give him a new deal. If he does that, then for me, the club's finished. But I look at Steve Bruce against Brentford after the game, and the game against, I think, Sheffield United. In the interview, he did not look well at all whatsoever. He looked pale. He looked ill. And former player Ryan Taylor, he used to play for Wigan, and then he played for us, and he made it clear, for goodness sake, Steve, resign, because you do not look well at all whatsoever. And I just don't want to wish that on anybody. But if you don't look well and the club's too big for you, walk away, because Steve Bruce will take us down as long as he's matching Newcastle United in the future. I can tell you that straight away. And I've got Seb. Evening, John. Evening, Seb. Hope you're okay. Please consider subscribing to the channel, Seb, if you already haven't done so. And yeah, I mean, like I said, do you think Newcastle will stop this season, or do you think it's a long way to go? 8 points clear, and
I think Newcastle will be okay, just on the basis that Fulham obviously still got a few tricky games. I think they got Chelsea up next, which you'd probably expect them to lose. So I just think they draw a few too many games, which has probably got Newcastle sort of out of trouble. I think if Fulham were able to put the ball in the back of the net and don't concede late goals like they have this season, then I do think Newcastle would have had more of an issue on their hands. But obviously, Bruce is effectively trying to sort of save his job by keeping you up on this sort of last few games, sort of where he's managed to grind out some wins in sort of games you needed to win, really.
Yeah, I totally agree there. But I just think we're going to be safe this season. That's on the basis of the team below us. Fulham haven't won enough games. West Brom will find a way. I'm concerned about Burnley under Sean Dyche, because they're on a poor run of form. Brighton picked up a point, and I think it can go either way. Do you know what I mean? We've got the next 4 games are not going to be winnable for us. Liverpool away, Arsenal home. We might get points against Arsenal, and then we've got to go to Leicester City then Man City at home, Sheffield United at home, Fulham away. I fully expect us to beat Sheffield United at home. Probably get a point against Arsenal and probably a point against Fulham, and that might just be enough to keep us in the Premier League. And then I'll just say to Steve, please, thanks, Steve. After 2 seasons, you kept us up. That's what we asked you for. Job done. You're going to have to move on. The guy is 60. I want a younger manager coming to my club.
Yep.
I mean,
I think you just need a sort of almost take a look at a club like Norwich. Obviously, in terms of club size, we're nowhere near you, but you just need to kind of look at the way we've kind of developed our club over sort of a period of years. I think if you had sort of the right owner who sort of had that view where he would willing to bring in a younger coach like Daniel Farker who can sort of bring through your youth players and kind of develop the club for the longer term rather than the short term, then I really do think Newcastle would benefit a lot.
Yeah, I totally agree there. You're absolutely right. Again, I've got Seb again. If West Brom or West Brown, obviously West Brown then. Ex-Man United, man. We've got West. I know what you mean. West Brom win and Leeds. They're more than Fulham. I said before, I can see them getting out of this. I still think they can get out of it because they won 3 games on the bounce. And because I totally agree, Adam, although the owners don't spend a lot, they've got fantastic recruitment, team and scouts. Another thing Newcastle lack, poor academy, in my opinion, Cantwell over the Longstaffs. Yeah, totally agree there. Cantwell's class, so consistent. And he'll be playing the Premier League for many, 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 many years to come. And he is absolutely dynamic. But I don't know if you've seen the Newcastle United's training facilities at all, Adam. I mean, it is absolutely garbage. It really is. It's like a playing park, which came straight from the 70s and 80s. Right? You look at Leicester's training facilities, yours as well. Spurs, Man U, Man City. They're state-of-the-art training facilities, right? That's the most important thing when you introduce a player before you sign for your club. But if you look at ours, it is an absolute joke. It really is.
This is obviously a criticism that Norwich had for many, many seasons. We basically had a load of porter cabins and some pretty terrible pitches. And even in the Premier League, sort of the years we were there for sort of 3 or 4 seasons on the bounce, we had sort of such an awful facility, and we just couldn't attract players to Norfolk at all because we're just so remote. The players weren't interested in coming, and then they went up to Colney, which is our training centre, and they were just sort of almost embarrassed at the standard. But since we've brought in the new sporting director Stuart Webber in 2017, he was like, right, we're gonna develop this, and the club set up a £5 million like bond where the fans all bought into these like shares, which effectively was enough to renovate the whole training facility, and we've now got a state-of-the-art gym, state-of-the-art pitches and everything, which is basically Premier League standard. And the club kind of said, well, actually, we're not going to be spending all this money on transfer fees, but we're going to invest into our youth system. We're going to invest into the sort of the club and all the infrastructure. And basically it's paying dividends now because for the long term, we've got a very, very solid foundation just to continue developing players and selling them on for big, big fees. And that's kind of the way that Stuart Webber's done it, and for that, like, he's left a legacy. So when he leaves, we can always be thankful that he's done that rather than splashed big money on players who effectively, even in the Premier League, won't necessarily be enough to keep you up.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the thing is, that's the way to do it. You got to have a canny stadium. You have to have a canny training facilities as well, and state-of-the-art complex as well, which is very, very important. Even if you spend, like I said, £5 million and the fans put some towards it, that's cool. Rafa Benitez, I've begged Ashley for a couple of years, you need a new training facility. He's a world-class manager, but we've got a National League owner. That is the thing. And the fact of the matter is, he begged him for it. Ashley said he's going to do it. And up to this very, very day, it hasn't happened. It's still the same thing. And when the new owners comes in, that's the first thing I invest in is a brand new training facility sort of thing for hundreds of thousands of pounds. So the players will be treasured sort of thing coming in. Because if I was a player and I look at that facility, I wouldn't join the club. There's no way. It's all about the training facility at this moment in time. And I think the club is a joke. I mean, and our stadium, you look at outside of the stadium, it's all tatty, it's all... The statue's not great as well in some places. For a Premier League club, I think it's a disgrace.
Yeah, no, I think it's one of them things. I've actually never actually been up to Newcastle, but a lot of my friends have, and they've always sort of said Newcastle, have the infrastructure of a stadium that could be a top kind of 7, 8 Premier League club. But yeah, Mike Ashley is running you into the ground, and it is a massive shame because you shouldn't be there. You should be, challenging for Europe every single season. And like, if you had the right manager in place, I genuinely do believe, and the right kind of board effectively, and all like scouts and everything, just from top to bottom. If you had the right people in place, I think if you put Norwich's kind of board members and all that into Newcastle, I genuinely think your club would develop a lot and probably be where it should be as opposed to where it is.
Yeah. And I totally agree again. You're talking a lot of sense, my guy. You know what I mean? But yeah, he just doesn't care. Ashley doesn't care at all whatsoever. All he cares about is one thing, and that's money. That's all he cares about. Look, if you're going to sell a top player sort of thing for £35 million, and all half that money goes towards the training facility sort of thing, okay, cool. I accept that. You know what I mean? But he doesn't. He puts it in his back pocket, and he just doesn't care. That's why Steve Bruce don't argue at all whatsoever, because demand this, demand that, because he's a perfect yes man to Mike Ashley. That's why he'll never sack him, even the poor on the form, even he's lost to players. Ashley does not care. He will still defend Steve Bruce. And we got a chief exec called Lee Charnley. And gee whiz, I mean, we don't hear from him. He doesn't communicate with the fans. He just doesn't even say a diddly squat with the interviews with the radios and TV and stuff like that sort of thing, he just does not care as well. I just think he's another arrogant CEO sort of thing, but that's for another time. I've got Paul here, he's a regular. Even John Hook, we well mate, and Adam's absolutely good as well. Connor, Adam, a question: Monko's Sunderland fan and rated Bali Mumba highly. How is he getting on? Is he on loan from you guys?
No, so he's a young kid. I think he's 18 or 19, and we signed him for £350,000. And I think eventually he will become Max Aaron's replacement at fullback. He's only played, I think it's one start in the Championship, a couple of substitute appearances, and a few games in the Cup. But he's really looking like a real talent, and I think he is the long term replacement to Max Aaron's. I do think we'll probably loan him out next season. I think he needs a season, probably lower half of the Championship, just to kind of get some games into him. But definitely, I can see there's a real player there, and I do think he's another one on this conveyor belt who we could eventually be selling in 3, 4, 5 years' time for big money again.
Yeah, I think you love the young players, don't you, at Norwich? I mean, they're so keen. They're so keen to play for a proper manager, keen to play for attacking minor manager as well, and an up-and-coming young manager as well. I mean, what's he, 43, 44 now?
Yeah, I think he's about 44, yeah. When he came here, he was, I think, the second youngest in the Championship. But yeah, he's done a brilliant job.
Yeah, I think he's going to be decent. I'd love to have him at Newcastle, but he could be gone off to Eintracht Frankfurt if he's being linked with them. Sort of. Do you think he'll leave Norwich for Eintracht?
He's always said he'll see out his contract here, and he has obviously got a contract till the end of next season. And I think he wants a proper go at the Premier League, because last time we went up, we had no money to spend. I think we spent the lowest probably ever really in recent Premier League history, under £5 million. But this summer we've got to sign Ben Gibson from Burnley. We've already agreed that's £8 million. Dimitris Giannoulis, the Greek left back, we had to sign him for £6 million. And obviously, eventually, I do think we'll sell one of our kind of main trio of players for big money and reinvest it probably into, say, 3 or 4, maybe £7, £8 million players to really give us a proper shot at trying to stay up next season.
Good for you. I mean, that's ambition right there, Sophie. You're just giving it a real go. You know what I mean? You're going to spend more than us anyway. Apparently, you've got no money to spend, sort of thing. It's just going to be loans and free transfers, sort of thing, for Newcastle. Unfortunately, I would love to have Joe Willock at my team as well. I'll come to Joe in a minute. I've got Paul again. Adam, swap Brucey for Delia? No chance.
No, I don't think so. No.
Nah. Charnley doesn't say anything because he's Ashley's muppet. I totally agree there again, Paul. It's just, this is the thing with Newcastle. That you've got to communicate, liaise with the fans, and if you don't do that, you're going to run into problems. You know what I mean? But you need to take over Adam so badly. It'd be absolutely. We just need it because we're a massive club. And what can I say? So, I mean, how do you think? I gotta say, how do you think you'll do next season? Where do you think you're going to be finishing?
I'm a lot more. Yeah, got it. Yeah, go for it.
Go, you carry on. You carry on.
I do think we've probably got realistically a lot better chance next season than what we had last time. Last time, I think every single Norwich fan kind of accepted we were going to get relegated before the season even started. It wasn't so much a negative mindset; it was just realistic. We weren't going to stay up. Even the kind of the management and all the board were just kind of saying, "Look, this is kind of a bit of a free shot. We'll take kind of the money effectively from the Premier League and reinvest it again into the right areas." For the long term, and it ultimately it's paying dividends because we've automatically come straight back up, and we are in a much better place to really give the Premier League a crack this time. And I genuinely do believe with the way we're playing, I think Farke's learnt his lessons. He was a little bit naive last time. He kind of thought he could play the Championship style of play he was playing in the Premier League against the likes of Man City and that, which was just never going to work. But I think this time he's learnt his lessons, and I do think genuinely the defence was half the problem last time, and we've got Ben Gibson, who has obviously been in the England setup before, and he's been monumentous this season for us, and I think he'll be massive again next season. And I think if we can get the right centre half in the summer, then I genuinely do think we'll stay up.
Yeah, I think you're going to stay up this season because he just said there he's learned his lesson, Farke, and hopefully as well if he learns from that sort of thing, you got a good chance. You've got some good players there. You've got some English players there as well. I said it again. And you play some good stuff sort of thing. And do you think you're going to change Farke from head coach to manager? Has that been talked about?
No, I think he'll always keep that title. That's kind of the way the model's now been set up at Norwich is basically if Farke decided to leave, we just get in another head coach from wherever it may be, probably one of the foreign leagues again. And basically, they implement exactly the same style of play. Everything remains the same. The club kind of has a culture now, and that is the way it will remain. It's not so much up to the manager how he wants to play or which players he wants to bring in. It's kind of the club decides, and that's kind of basically everyone goes in one direction as opposed to different people who have different kind of opinions and ideas. It's all one basically.
Sure. I mean, there's two managers I know has changed from head coach to manager, and that's Pochettino when he was at Spurs, and quite recently, Mikel Arteta as well. So, yeah. But that's the thing, you see. I think if I was the sporting director, I would have made him from head coach to manager because he knows what he's doing at the club. So, I got Paul again. Used to love watching Norwich years ago with Ted McDougall, great player. I don't know if you heard of Ted McDougall.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do know him. Yeah. Bit of a legend at Norwich. I believe he used to play for Bournemouth as well.
Yeah, he did. I mean, if you look at the Championship table, right? I mean, obviously you're up. Watford, I think if Watford wins, I think they'll be up as well with 3 games to go. I mean, who's good enough to go with them between Bournemouth, Swansea, Brentford or Barnsley?
I think first half of the season, I'd have probably backed Brentford. I just think in terms of going forwards, obviously Ivan Toney is probably the best striker in the league alongside Pukki. But I think if you're going to go based on form, I think Bournemouth, obviously we played them literally a couple of games back now, and I honestly do think they'll be the ones who just have the quality in sort of the sort of big games to kind of just beat these sides who maybe don't have the experience or the players who can cope with the pressure sort of in those big games.
Aye, you're right. I mean, I look at the form guide. I mean, Bournemouth won the last 5 games. Swansea won 2 at the last 3 games. 5 games, sorry. Brentford only won 1 in the last 5. 4 of those being draws. And Barnsley won 3 at the last 2 games. I mean, a lot of people are saying that Barnsley could be the surprise package as well if they stay in the top 6 and they play some cracking football under Ishmael.
Yeah, Norwich have actually already played them twice this season, but once in the cup and once in the league. We've got them last game of the season away from home. But in terms of the league game, they probably were the best side we've played at Carrow Road this season, I would say, apart from Bournemouth on Saturday there. They were absolutely brilliant in terms of the way they came at us. They pressed us high, and we played them in the FA Cup and they knocked us out. And I think a lot of fans at Norwich were a little bit shocked that they'd done that, but that was kind of just at the start of their sort of real patch of form where I think they went unbeaten for about 13 or 14 games, and
Mm.
they've just been absolutely brilliant. They've got a lot. That's kind of similar to Norwich in the sense they've got a lot of younger players, probably not so much sort of well-documented players, but people like Callum Styles, who I would absolutely love to take at Norwich if Barnsley didn't get promoted. He's been one of these players that they picked up from kind of the League Twos and the League One clubs, and it's kind of developed them into Championship players that are now at a level where they're kind of looking to try and get into the Premier League.
I've heard of Callum Styles. I mean, I heard that he's been getting some real reviews in the Championship. Callum Styles, I think he looks a decent centre back, doesn't he? He looks quick.
Yeah, he's been solid, and I think in terms of going forwards, I know they've got a young American striker, Daryl DK, who they've brought in on loan, and he's scoring goals for them up front. And they've just got kind of players in every position now where the only issue that Barnsley would have is if they went into the playoffs and they had some injuries, sort of key players, they probably don't have the squad depth of, say, a Swansea or a Brentford or a Bournemouth, where they've just got slightly better players in reserve than Barnsley do.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I think Bournemouth is going to be the team to catch ice here in the playoffs. And I think they'll be good enough to get back up after one season. And Jonathan Woodgate has done a cracking job since he's been there. Do you know what I mean? I think if they get them up, I think you should give them a chance, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've got Claire Williams as usual. Claire, good evening to you, babe. I hope you're having a great evening. I'm sure I am. And hope you are too with Daft, Snowy and Jan. And Claire's a Manchester United fan, always on me chats, speaks to her on Twitter. And she's not very happy in a minute the way things are in a minute with the Super League. She's not very happy. And she's happy that Ed Woodward is going at the end of the season or end of the year. And yeah, I mean, let's hope that Man U win the title next season for Claire.
100%, yeah.
Because I do like Claire. I mean, love to meet her. I think she's amazing. So, yeah. So, you said that. Give us a league position next season.
I think realistically, I'd take 15th. I think that would be a good place to grow from eventually. And I think Norwich obviously want to establish themselves as a Premier League club sort of for the next 5-10 years at least, to continue kind of this growth that we're on and this development. And I only see it going that way. I don't see us ever sort of keep yo-yoing between the clubs, which is obviously something that's always sort of been linked to Norwich, is this sort of yo-yo tag. But I generally do think that we are now getting at the point where I can see a future in the Premier League for the long term.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, if I was Norwich, I'd be happy finishing 15, 16 for the first season and build up on their sort of thing. Then at least to be in a plan for a small club like Norwich, for me, I mean, they're not really a small club, but like middle club sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, out of respect, you know what I mean? It's just a cracking season. If you stay for a good few seasons, then Norwich will just progress over time. Then Farka will leave a legend sort of thing. He'll leave the club in good health. Let's hope so. Let's hope they would a statue for him, whatever may. I've got Claire going, thank you so much, John. Well done, Norwich. That's cracking season 2. And she said, well, congratulations as well. That's very kind of you, Claire. Thank you very much. And I've got my guy, Anuruda, Bristol City fan. Disappointing last week when they got beat off Wickham. I sure rubbed in too much. Deserved to go up. And he is a cracking lad as well. And yeah, so I was going to say, so you think Newcastle stop this season? We agreed on that. Can you see Steve Bruce staying at Newcastle at the end of the season? Or do you think he'll be gone?
I suppose if they keep him up, I mean, depends on if Newcastle fans, obviously, you don't really want to be battling relegation every single season. But I suppose if he deems the objective of staying in the Premier League a success, then he's probably got half a chance of still being there next season. But I think if Newcastle actually want to progress to be the club they should be, then you've got to get rid of him and get a new, younger manager in who can start to implement sort of a style that fans want to watch and can actually get behind, rather than sort of basically just cause disconnect between everywhere across the club, where it's just toxic and it's not a fun environment or a nice team to support in that respect.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, I'd love to have Eddie Howe, Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard. They're not going to come because of one guy, and that's Mike Ashley. That's the only reason why they want to come to Newcastle, because of Mike Ashley. They speak to Rafa Benitez first, and they probably say, thanks, mate. No, thanks. I don't want to come here if you're not going to be back properly. But you're right again. So for me, I mean, I definitely need a new manager. We need to start afresh. First of all, mostly, I want to take over Adam Stewart away. We had 14 years of Mike Ashley, and we're going absolutely nowhere with him. 2 allegations as well, 3 near misses as well, and he didn't want us finishing 5th. We got into Europe, finishing 5th in Europa League, and he told Pardew he doesn't want to be there, and he also told Pardew at the time, play your reserves out for the Europa League, and that's exactly what Pardew has done, cheating the fans. That can't happen ever again. So I want to qualify for Europe. I want to win the FA Cup. And if I do that, we do that. Absolutely cool. Absolutely fantastic. And that's how it is. I've got Adam. There you go. I'm not going to read it out, but you can see that, can you?
Yeah.
I don't know. But I know what you mean, Paul. I know what you mean, mate. So there you go. So we're going to wrap it up. We've been there for 50 minutes. And one question I'll ask you, did you enjoy coming on the show?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, no, it's been a good hour, and I hope obviously everyone's learned a little bit about Norwich, and can kind of see where the club's going and sort of the way it's moving forwards. And good luck to Newcastle for the rest of the season as well. And hopefully you'll sort of get your wish and you can eventually get back to where you should be.
Fantastic. Well, thank you much for saying those kind words to us. I'm sure Newcastle fans will love that as well. And for me, I've got to say to you, congratulations on Norwich City winning the championship, and you're being credit to the club, and it'd be fantastic to join our league next season, and let's hope we stay there as well, and let's hope you score plenty of goals and keep yourself up. And what else can I say? We'll be watching a lot more of you guys as well, and I've got other projects to do as well. I've got to do the press conference reaction tomorrow, what Steve Bruce have to say, and also I've got to do I'm trying to do a watch along on Saturday, but I've got a funny feeling I've got to do a long day at work, so I may not do a watch along on Saturday, but I will keep posted on that. But I'm definitely going to do the full-time fan cams as well, no matter what. I'll be doing that. So I'm going to be really, really busy as well. I'm really busy. Do you know what I mean? I've got clear here. John will make sure Newcastle will win for me on the weekend. We do our best, Claire. We do our best. We have not won Liverpool since 1992-93 season under Kevin Keegan. And that's a long damn time. Nice one again, John. Nice one, Adam. Thanks so much for that, Paul. And so I would say thanks so much for coming on, my guy. And we must do it again soon. And good luck for the rest of the season. And again, welcome to the Premier League.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Take care, mate. See you later.
See you later.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So that's Adam. Congratulations to him and Norwich City Football Club. And what a guy. He's only 21 and he's definitely coming back on again soon. And I've got Claire here. Records are there to be broken, John. Let's hope so. There's 2 ways to look at it, Claire. If we sit back and we defend deep, we're going to get absolutely slaughtered. But if we give it a real go, we may just get some out of the game. Maybe it's a point. But the Liverpool back four aren't that great, isn't it? Not like that at all. I ain't going to lie. Not great at all. But listen, we've got to go there, give it a go. If Fulham can beat them, Burnley can beat them, Brighton can beat them, why can't we? But I think we're playing at the wrong time, because Liverpool want to get in the top 4. I think they're 2 points away from getting back in that top 4, and they got 6 games left to do it. But at the same time, we're 8 points from the drop zone as well. And if we can just win, if we win this game, and likely win, who knows? We could stay up. And I got Claire as well. You can take heart from what Leeds did Monday. Totally agree, Claire. Totally agree. Thing is, though, I mean, he's going to play 5 at the back again. The good news is, though, I think ASM will be back on Saturday from ankle injury. And Miron's going to play as well. But what I want to see as well, I want to see Joe Willock start as well, or drop Shelby. I want energy in the midfield. We can't afford to carry passengers in that team against Liverpool. There's no way. And John Joe Shelby is that passenger. And also, he's our club captain while Jamal Lascelles is away, out of injured sort of thing. So, read of it what you will. If you're going to drop Shelby, I hope he does, get the captain on band to Matt Ritchie. He'll lead from the back. He'll do well. And Claire, again, ASM's son player, I hope he really goes at him. He's the one who can unlock them. Claire, I totally agree. You give him the bar, you take him on players. If he goes for the bar, we need someone's going to go with him. I want to see Callum Wilson starting as well. For me, I'll definitely play a 4-4-2 maybe, or a 4-2-3-1 with ASM as a 10 role and Callum Wilson up top. I mean, Joe Linton's done okay 2 home games. For me, I think he needs to be dropping, if I'm honest with you, because this game will not suit him at all whatsoever. I could be wrong there, but our back three has got to be on point and keep the same team. I make 1 or 2 changes. Callum Wilson in from the start, and I dropped Shelby in for Willock as well, because Willock scored 3 goals now he scored since he's been on loan, and we want him for £20 million. Whether we pay that money, I just do not know. We have to wait and see what happens on that. And that's a good comment there, Claire. And yeah, I mean, still seething about the Super League as well. I'm so glad it's come to an end. I'm just hearing Real Madrid and Barcelona are still in. They still want the Super League to come on as well, which is sad, which is very, 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 very sad. And it just goes to show that money takes over every single time, and they're pushing the fans out of the way. I'm absolutely seething. I read the tweet Claire sent out last night on my DMs, and my God, she's absolutely passionate. She's absolutely spot on. And I got Claire again. Did you hear about our fans protesting at the training ground today? Claire, I have. And apparently the fans walked into the training ground, right? There wasn't any bother at all. It's just talking to them, basically, just asking them the questions, etc., that sort of thing. And then 5-10 minutes later, they just left. It just goes to show that the fans are always going to be first. The fans first. There's no football, and I've said this many a time. There's no football if there ain't going to be any fans there. So that's what they have to learn. You got to listen to the fans. They pay your season tickets. They pay for watch the games, to travel a long way. Listen to them. Listen to the fans. Football is not without the supporters. It's simple as that. And I hope people understand that as well. I just wish our fans did that to Newcastle and question some players. And I got great Ole Carrick and Matic talking to the fans. Absolutely right, Claire. And big up to those 3. Big up to those 3 because they have done the right thing. And I heard as well that Arsenal's going to have a protest as well. That'll be very interesting. I've listened to a bit of AFTV and the fans aren't happy with Josh Kroenke as well. Again, did a statement out today and they wouldn't ban it at all whatsoever. Could you imagine if Newcastle was picked to play in the Super League? I would be absolutely furious because we don't earn enough to be in the Super League. We just don't. I would not be happy. I'd rather play our way into it and actually achieve it, not fast track into the crappy Super League. It's all about the money. So Barca, Real Madrid, just you ought to be ashamed of yourselves if you think you're still going to go on. So there you go. I'm going to wrap it up, guys, and we've been on for another hour. So if you do like the videos, anyone's off done, could you please smash the likes up? Please subscribe if you are new, and please tweet us at JohnFC42. And I've got Claire again. Apparently, Kroenke is going to do a fans forum. He's already done that today, Claire. He's done that a day, and I watched a bit of AFTV. 4 guys, which is Turkish, Robbie, James, and Cecil Joe. And they were all talking about it, and he was in a lose-lose situation. And Claire said, so he will be answering to the fans. What was said to the fans, I don't think the fans believed in 1 second. Again, just like Liverpool's and Man U's, well scripted as well. They had a couple of days to sort out the suits, and they haven't done it. You know what I mean? Could you imagine, could you see Mike Ashley apologising to the fans? Never. Could you see Lee Charnley apologizing to the fans? Never. Because they do not flipping communicate, and that is unacceptable as well. I just hope that we get this takeover very, very badly. And hello, apologies, Claire, you're absolutely right. How many times do you see fans believe in their owners, their chairman sort of thing? They come out, the best that you're going to do, apologise, have a meeting, do a face-to-face meeting in a couple months' time and tell it all. I've just seen a tweet here as well from NUFC 360 as well regarding the takeovers, just common news as well. And I'll just read this out very quickly. It says, both sides are confident to win arbitration. Of course, otherwise it will be pointless exercise for either. Whichever way it does fall will have a huge bearing on the future of Newcastle United Football Club. The photo starts next season with Ashton Booth doesn't bear thinking about. I'll just say it now, yeah. If we do start with Ashley and Bruce next season, we may as well just get relegated because we're going to end up losing players like ASN, Miguel Aaron, Jamal Lascelles, Martin Nabaka, yeah, and possibly Joe will be back to Arsenal, yeah. But I tell you something now, right? We are going to be in hiding for absolutely nout because we could end up finish bottom of the Premier League and we could end the Championship and we never, ever, ever get back up ever again. Let's be real about this. And at the minute, we're starting up this season, I can guarantee you that. But we need this takeover. If we don't win arbitration for the takeover, that could be absolutely huge. It would be massive. I can't remember the word. It'd just be massive, massive repercussions as well. Real talk. And I've got Paul, see you letting us gone down the tubes again, just seeing your teeth. Yeah, it's a bit dark, isn't it, Paul? Thank you. I hope your takeover happens, Claire. You know what? I hope it does happen because if it don't, this takeover doesn't happen, then for me, our club could be heading to the oblivion as well. Look at Schalke in the Bundesliga, just got relegated. Huge club, huge history. My God, absolutely sad to see that football club getting relegated, man. But they had a shocking season. They only won 2 games, I think. And Claire said, need Ashley out as soon as possible. We do as well, Claire. Absolutely right. And your fans deserve so much better. That's from a Man United fan, Claire. And you're absolutely right. So I'll be back tomorrow to do my usual press conference reaction, see what Steve Bruce has to say. I'm sure the Super League saga is going to be on the agenda. I'll be surprised to know I've asked that question. The takeover needs to be questioned as well. I'm sure he's not going to say that about it as well. And yeah, all I can say is thanks for watching, guys. And you've been absolutely magnificent. Thanks to Adam as well, Norwich City fan as well. He's coming back again, I hope. And like I said, please subscribe if you haven't done it. Smash the likes up and keep those comments coming through. Also, you can tweet us as well. But thanks for joining us anyway. And it's been fantastic, especially Claire as well. Top red. And Paul said, dead right, John. Thank you very much indeed. And thanks for your viewers. Thanks for Adam, Norwich City fan. And until then, have a fantastic evening. Watch what you're doing and enjoy the sunshine tomorrow. And Claire, I can't leave without your comments. Great show. Have a great night, Claire. Love you loads. And I still want Snowy. But listen, sweet dreams, guys. Are we the lads? And laters.